will be very difficult, I would say, here for Chicken Fighters. This might be one of those games, especially if Aqua decides to go into the Battle Fury and tries to take this late, which, again, I think is the right decision. If he does decide to do that, it's probably going to be one of those games where Chicken Fighters just try and ignore him, and, you know, one of those RTZ still farming kind of games, right? That's probably what Chicken Fighters wants it to look like, right? You know, this AM just doesn't have the items to fight into them yet. He's going to need a Manta. He's going to need probably a Scotty, I would say, versus an SF sounds really good, right? Something like that.
Yeah,
and those
definitely a Manta. I think probably Manta Basher, and I think you might be able to take a fight, honestly. I agree with the Scotty point, but like I think with Basher you might be able to like at least go to the back lines, cut them out, kill them.
Yeah.
Because honestly, controlling the techies these fights is really important. You mentioned the 7-second silence on Blastoff. It's absurd, guys.
Yep.
Like if this hits the Omni Knight is out of the commission for the whole fight. So I don't know. The Techie needs to die. And Anti-Mage is the only person that can really jump this backline. Tiny can sort of do it, but Tiny will die.
Yeah,
if he does it.
And it's S4 Tiny. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he decides to play these fights. I love that spray, by the way. Because I think he is...
Oh, there's that limp surfing away?
I think so. I think so. It's hard to tell. You know, all the Swedes, really, when they lose their hair.
It's just all bald people look the same to me. I honestly, this could be Limp, this could be Pyrian Flax. I can't. They're all the same. I look at people from the eyes up.
There's
right?
three heroes here actually for Aqua, who has already taken the mana break at level 1, but it doesn't look like they're able to catch him.
It's the best way, right? In the anti-mage, quote-unquote, the winning anti-mage matchups, which is usually Darkseer and Sanking, the first two that come to mind, the way you play this is super aggressive, get all the mana out of Shibe, and then hope that you can sustain the lane afterwards. That's kind of the plan most of the time. Unfortunately, level 1 mana break, not that great at doing that, and Shibe can kind of hold his own, especially with the help of the Sticky Bomb. Nasty spell in lane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting, especially because now Techies has real right-click damage, so it's not just like you're slowed and you're getting hit for like 20 damage or 10 if you're melee. Yeah. It's real damage now.
It's true. I mean, he is above the Winter Wyvern now. Just that's if 9 can last it with that hero in the mid lane, then Techies can certainly harass you with a different hero in the
Not
off lane.
Quite at Shaman levels, of course, who's right-clicking for 74 versus Bengen, and even with the decay is kind of losing this 1-to-1. Ether Shock level 1 is just, it's so much damage, my goodness. Henskin's like, yeah, you want to keep trading? Brown Boots, run away, man. Get away from me.
Yeah, this is the moment where the Undying wishes that DK could steal armor, because that's what you really need. Unfortunately, the strength is not going to help you against the Shaman, because those attacks don't, you know, they don't cost any mana. And it's a really bad matchup generally for the Undying. Usually, Undyings go for like an Over Venom to make sure that once you hit the Shaman once, you just can chase him endlessly. But without it, he did go for Boots, a different proposition. Not going to be as successful.
Might just be dead here. The mana break level 1. The Hammer of Purity is only for Peksu, and that's not going to stop Aqua. Charlie securing first blood. That's huge.
That Hammer of Purity. Oh, nice laugh. Wow. Everyone's copying everyone's voice lines this season, huh? You took Ponlo's line here, but the Hammer of Purity, a ridiculously strong spell in lane that we've seen time and time again in the open qualifiers, and I think goonsquad was one of the teams to abuse it the most as well, so just really difficult to deal with in the early levels. Later on, it falls off a bit.
He's going to use the ward to his advantage, and he's going to get the kill onto Supreme. Surprise him there with the level 2 Split Earth, the solo kill there. That's a tip.
Wow.
And he's even going to get both water bottles here for himself as well. So even though the SF's going to come back with a full bottle, full HP and mana, Limp as well. It gets the free regeneration in the mid lane, doesn't miss any CS. He is off to an amazing start here.
Yep, there's a reason why Limp is called the lane dominator, right? He is known particularly for destroying his opponents in lane, and especially against a Shadow Fiend is even more important because Shadow Fiend, yeah, he can sort of recover in the jungle, but ideally would like to destroy his lane and gank from there. Otherwise, he essentially becomes the carry from the mid lane, which is okay with an Ursa, but still not your ideal matchup. You'd like him for at least to be able to gank once or twice before he actually goes farm the jungle endlessly.
Yeah, I agree. It's mighty concerning that he does take a death. He's no longer the glass cannon he used to be back before 7.0, where you'd lose half your souls and you kind of just lose the game as Shibe dies. And maybe even Era as well. Techie's not the fastest of heroes, especially with the Orb of Corrosion, and that mana break slow.
Orb of Corrosion's still ticking him down. Mana break slow. They just need one more hit, but the anti-mage got beaten by the trees, apparently. The little turn they had to do, honestly, was pretty bad.
Still pretty big, though, because it forces Era to use the healing salve on himself and not Shibe.
Yeah, it's true. Era is...
Oh, speaking of Shibe.
Gonna struggle this lane. Yeah,
right
Shibe as well. Aqua decides maybe to go for the support, or not has any last hits. It's a free lane for the anti-mage already.
Yeah.
You've already done what you had to do in the beginning, which is cancel the Sanking's XP progression, and now it's going to be really difficult for Shibit to recover unless he, again, uses jungle shenanigans here.
Yeah, and he's going to have to at this stage. I would probably send Ira to just start stacking camps already. Techies is pretty good at stacking. They've already dewarded your sentry, I think, for the second time, so this is now starting to really bleed into the gold reserves that Ira is going to have. Things are getting painful.
He did take the courier, though, which is probably the best thing Shibit could ask for right now. But yeah, he is struggling. Sometimes you can do some tricks, like you can use the Caustic Finale, right, and pull like the creep wave into the small camp and then clear it all out. But with heroes like Omnet, it's much harder to do that because he actually can stand that as well, fight his ground, and kill you while you're doing that. And because he has one more level over you, all of a sudden it's a reality. Era is the one getting last in this lane, which is fine, but not the ideal matchup here that they were looking for.
Well, let's talk about a lane that's going a little bit better here for Chicken Fighters. It's going to be Koma's lane up top. A lot thanks to the pull shenanigans that the Undying's been up to. Hanskin, though, he's going to realize something's up and he's going to use this beautiful Immortal to shackle down Koma. S4 in with the Avatar's damage. Not going to be nearly enough to get through Koma, even as they throw the tree after him. So Ursa taking plenty of damage, but at least he's got decent CS, 22 and 2. He's close to keeping even with the AM.
Right, but the AM also gets the kills, right? Which is why he has the lower CS as well, because he's playing aggressive. Limp going for Supreme, but he gets surprised by a blast off. And they know Limp is the lane dominator, hence we just need to bring more people into the mid lane.
There it is.
Real solution.
They turn the tables on him, and that's a big one for Supreme. Doesn't get the kill, but didn't... I mean, it would have been nice if he had gotten it, but it's a little bit hard for Techies, you know. Not known for his chip damage, is he? So a little bit hard for them to give it on over to him. The Tombstone's down top lane, actually, and Hanskin has kind of committed to just stopping it. Koma's going to go for a bit of a dive, but S4 taking him for a walk around the tower, and even with the Earth Shock, S4 easily has that kill.
Koma now. Well, he's honoring his old name of aggressive child, right? But S4, he lived during the times where Hobos was a player, right? So he knows all the tricks, man. He's the king of going around the tower, and he's gonna show it there. Really big loss, honestly, for Chicken Fighters. Unnecessary death by Koma, but also a hero that will eventually be outfarmed by AM just naturally, especially when the Battle Fury comes out. A lane that's not going as well for you, it's difficult. You need to find some place where you can win here, some sort of like safeguard, because otherwise they're gonna just snowball away. Even though they're not meant to, with a Leshrac and a Tiny, they totally can.
Yeah, mid lane's already sieging. It's only level 1 Diabolic Edict. Again, Limp, the lane bully, he's gone for Split Earth. 3-1-2 build here, so just the one sample point in the Edict. But now he's going to be bolstered by his 2 supports and this 5-minute wagon, which they still have kept alive. Now it's going to start to do some actual damage to the tower here. Ira with the right clicks trying to get it through as they have found Shibit yet again down bottom. That's just a solo kill for Charlie, but the action's still mid lane as Paksu with the sticky bomb applied. He's going to dodge the raise and he'll live. So right now the tier 1 tower defended, but again they continue bleeding in this bottom lane.
It's very interesting, by the way. I don't know if you saw the interaction with Sticky Bomb. Heavenly Grace will take away the slow the Sticky Bomb gives you, but the Sticky Bomb stays, right? I thought it would interact more like Swarm, but you can actually dispel that slow. That's very fascinating. And with that, they've kind of nullified the impact of Techies because you really rely on the Sticky Bomb slow to get the blast off damage afterwards. And if you don't have that combo of burst, Techies does not feel like that strong a laner, and that was usually his strength. I mean, they have Undying in Techies, and they're losing by 3k 7 minutes. This is crisis mode.
Yeah, it's starting to look bad. Yeah, it's starting to look pretty bad here. Tombstone is up to level...
They just need to...
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say that you need to utilize the Sanking right now to, like, even if he's... Once he hits level 6, right? Just desperate level 6, and try to use his burst like to start to get kills. Because otherwise, there's no way they're going to recover here in terms of map control. They got to harass the anti-mage to a degree and put some pressure elsewhere.
Yeah, I would say at least the good news for Chicken Fighters is that Goon Squad, let's see what S4 is building. He is building a Blink Dagger. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a Blink or maybe like an Echo to, you know, be a farming item and make him a bit tankier.
He's done drums before as well, as the offlane.
So it's important to always see what the Son of Magnus is going to be building, and this time it's the Blink. And that's a bit scary, because I would say before this, their Hunt Squad wasn't exactly the best. Lesh does a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but I think his catch is kind of minimal these days, because from especially the Limp Lesh that we've seen, doesn't go for a lot of Yule Scepters these games. Hanskin is having a fantastic game, and he's making decent progress for a position 4, you know, asterisk there, towards his Blink Dagger. But once these items are online, Blink on Shaman, Blink on Tiny, they do invade your jungle very well, and that's when things really get scary for Chicken Fighters, because then what recourse do they have as they're losing their mid-tier 1?
Limp. Okay, he does get a stun off. Not quite enough to kill a tower, and Hanskin could be in trouble himself. Shibe has the burrow strike in a second. He's going to use it. Hanskin stun. Hits by 2 raises. Hanskin will die. And this tower can now be denied. Most likely the best option. Yeah, because Lesh will otherwise take it. So that's a good point, and I think it clearly demonstrated itself there, because what Goon Squad did there was they can only make one play.
Yep.
Aqua is finning a Shibe. Oh, he actually got the burrow strike reflected, and thanks to the Mana Void, Shibe dies again. They can only do this, right? They stand in front of the tower, they push it, and ideally you go and defend it, or ideally don't go and defend it, they just take it for free. But if you do, you have to get a counter kill, and that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things are looking mighty scary here, I would say, for Chicken Fighters. Aqua is going to finish off the Perseverance here already at 9 minutes. He has full Power Treads and full Orb of Corrosion and a chipped Vest. So not only is he pretty farmed, he's actually kind of tanky right now. I don't know if you can reasonably kill him, especially with his fast fingers, proving that he can even counterspell something as snappy as a Burrow Strike. That's pretty scary. He's in the zone right now.
I mean, it sucks because the burrow strike, how it works is that even if you don't target the AM, you just target away from him. As long as it hits through him, right, it will counter.
Oh,
that's what
caught Supreme. Shackles in the mid lane as Limp pumping in the damage with Pulse Nova, and the level 3 Edict has the kill. And again, can do nothing but simply run, and S4 even is on the prowl. 600 gold until he has his Blink Dagger, and then these kills become trivial for him.
Where's the space gonna come from this game, genuinely, for Chicken Fighters? I was suggesting Disanking being able to gank and get kills, but with the Shadow Fiend being this denied, with Ursa pretty much being non-existent. Look, S4 is actually jumping at the Coma without the Blink Dagger, by the way. Just caught up to him and almost 100 to 0.
Just knew where he was going to be based on where he last was on the map. He just kind of direct intercept course. He was like an aim 12 mark missile. Just immediately lock on there. Man is pretty terrifying. So Ursa's in the jungle. He needs the space, right? For sure, because he has he's even behind S4 in terms of farm. Asef, a hero that especially once he gets denied in lane. I mean, I said before, 1 death and his game's not over. Sure. 2 deaths, he's still a little bit more sensitive compared to other mid laners, and I think we're going to start to see symptoms of that as Hanskin is simply just going to walk away from these heroes. There's still a ward here for Chicken Fighters, and now a level 3 Tombstone, and perhaps, this was what I was about to say, perhaps this is what they can use to fight around a little bit more effectively, because again, their early team fight is still pretty strong. It's only a level 1 Burrow Strike, but now that at least we have the point in Epicenter, they could probably kill just about anyone as long as the Omni Knight is not nearby. Big if.
Yes, big if. And as long as the enemy is not joining in the fight as well, because Aqua has wanted to be quite aggressive early, and honestly, I think he is enough to destabilize these fights for Chicken Fighters, right? You can still get pickoffs, but I think at the moment that turns into a skirmish, especially if Goon Squad decides to put all the resources there, you're screwed.
And I just wanted to point something out real quick, because Chicken Fighters, they had a ward here on this cliff, and it's a pretty nice aggressive ward, because you expect the AM to rotate into the jungle like 4 or 5 minutes ago. That just hasn't been the case, so that ward has done nothing for them. In fact, Charlie has just continued farming in lane non-stop. That's how well this game is going for him, as he's about to finish off Battle Fury here already.
And now that they've finally taken the tier 1, before you could already see Leshrac was already diving the enemy jungle, which is fine. But now that they finally finished the tier 1, AM can go here, farm the jungle as you were pointing out, and now they gank on the Blink Dagger on S4.
Shibe has one too.
Shibe, he wanted the haste rune, he doesn't get it, instead he turns into a chicken. Now he's gonna get fried, and poor Shibe will die. Bengen, he does want to fight this. There's the Tombstone used, the Snakes as well, all the units are out, and the Guardian
is getting body blocked.
He's getting body blocked by his teammate who's a bit too slow. The Avalanche still comes out, there's a toss into the Shackles. The SF's gonna die to those Snakes as Bengen. He's the only one that can survive this onslaught, but he's also been turned into a chicken, and eventually Bengen is going to die. The backlines is getting dove as well, as Leshrac will bring them down. It's going to be Bengen finally falling limp, keeping the rest of the enemy team at bay. Chicken Fighters, they just out of options, man. They just don't know what to do here.
And it doesn't get any easier. I mean, that was the tiny Blink Dagger into your own Sand Blink Dagger. Hanskin, he's a bro, so he's going to let his core Lesh, of course, get the battle refill. But as soon as Lesh activates that rune, he has Blink Dagger as well. Things do not... This is a 13-minute blink on a Shaman. Things do not get any easier from here. As a Limp, he's just going to probably set up for this go into Coma. Shibe's going to try and turn, but do they have the damage? It's a nice burrow epi onto 2. Supreme as well to close the gap. Does pick up the kill. That's going to not give him full souls. That's not how it works anymore, but Shibe is going to stay alive, and at least they repel this bit of aggression. So for now, some space to breathe for Coma, but how long will it last?
Yeah, important play by Shiv, but they did have to put every single resource out down the bottom lane, right? The whole team is here at this point. Only one can rotate top. Coma will at least open up the map a little bit in that way, and they see the opportunity to just go and fight. Without the Ursa, they're not as strong. And again, Blink Dagger on S4. They go for the Undying first. Want to get rid of that Tombstone. Bengen still has a chance to use it, as he hasn't died just yet. Beautiful Requiem to save his life. Bengen is just going to retreat, apparently. S4 throws a tree.
Oh.
That's not enough damage. He still has the Blink, though. He might go for the Blink Avalanche, but he is biding his time instead, going for the techies. Era, the first target. The Tombstone gets dropped. There's the blast off. A little bit more damage to kill Era, and they'll get him. Well, the Tombstone also kind of wasted there. They can just back off, honestly. They don't even need to play aggressively this early. They just can't.
They're going to make a play for the Ursa, actually, because Koma, he might have farmed one wave too aggressively. Aqua is giving chase. S4 from behind, and Hanskin closing the distance from the jungle. As in they go, the chase, the hunt onto the wild bear, and well, they're going to be eating some bear burgers tonight. They've got him.
Yes, that's exactly what you do when you kill a bear.
I don't know what you do when you kill a bear.
You steal his honey, obviously. That's the first thing.
Usually I grief.
the Ursa dies there, and Koma, I mean, he is saying he's not keeping up with the anti-mage is an understatement. He's honestly at half net worth this anti-mage. A hero that usually has a hard time keeping up with AM in general, but this game has just been really difficult.
Well, I mean, it's 14 minutes, and the AM with Battle Fury is running down an Ursa. Like,
yes, exactly.
That's not supposed to happen.
Really bad. Now the Roche falls to these new snakes, by the way. These snakes take Roche so quickly nowadays.
Not supposed to happen.
I don't know if that's intended. Who knows, right? How long does a bug need to be in the game for it to be intended? What's the rule in Dota?
When did Weaver get added?
I think the question is, I think the real answer is when Loda complains about it. I think that's when it becomes official.
Shibe continuing to go on the prowl. Of course, Alliance winning 2-1 over Team Bald. Pretty close game, that one, actually. That's, of course, onto the more important Swedish matchup with everyone on Goon Squad being Swedish, with the exception of one imposter, Peksu.
Who is from Finland.
Yes. I'm sure they give him...
not that far off.
I'm sure they give him a lot of grief for it, though.
Yes, that's true, actually. As both our bosses are Swedish, and they constantly make fun of the other three Nordic countries.
Yeah, especially Denmark.
Especially Denmark for some reason. I wonder how Synderen does with these. Now I understand why Synderen played with the German team, actually. It makes sense, right?
Hold that thought.
So let's see what happens as they go into the enemy triangle. It seems like they don't know what objective to take because the map is free for them,
and here's actually the annoying thing that Techies does do is that he's great at detecting these smoke ganks. That being said, he's still going to die for it. But hey, that's a position for tanking the smoke gank. Not bad at all. But then again, I wanted to say, Goon Squad, they don't even really have to make these plays. Remember, they're the ones with the AM Battle Fury who already has a Yasha at 60 minutes. Like, they're okay, but they're just keeping up the aggression and making sure and closing off the space that Chicken Fighters has to you know, regain a spot back in this game. That's what really, to me, separates Goon Squad from a lot of other Division 2 teams that we normally see.
I agree. Another team would just try to play their map as best as they can, or try to outfarm the enemy team and play their strategy, but Goon Squad, they acknowledge, you know, you have to adapt to the game. And they've been utilizing their power spikes really effectively, particularly S4 with his Blink Dagger. Usually with S4 Tiny, honestly, he's usually a very big deciding point in the game. He decides the tempo for the most part. S4 hit the wards. No, he's like, that's the support's job. So there you go. Serpent ward's been dropped. They're going to go for the top tier 2 as well. They've already taken mid tier 2. And Chicken Fighters now will officially lose their jungle. There's no way they can ever go back to it. But they have put some offensive wards in the enemy jungle to make sure Koma has some space elsewhere.
Yeah, and this is just looking really rough now. 8K at 17 minutes with an AM Battle Fury. He's basically already made up the difference of the Battle Fury. He's almost double the net worth of the enemy carry, the Ursa Warrior, who has now just been overtaken here in terms of net worth by S4, and this is all effective farm on the Tiny as he finishes off the Echo Saber. Fight's breaking out in the mid lane. It looks like Hanskin has been left for dead. Silenced up. He will die to the right clicks of Supreme. So something now, at least for Chicken Fighters. Again, just breathing room, but that's not to be underestimated. It looks like Charlie is considering joining a little bit of a brawl here as he makes the jump onto Bengen. They're also reinitiating through the mid lane as well as Chicken Fighters just looking to retreat. S4 finds the SF, making the jump in, but SF, Spring with the BKB, pops the Requiem. Right-click damage going to be ignored thanks to the GA, but Limp falling to the magic damage here. That Techie's Mind doing good work as well, reducing the magic resist as they had picked up the kill onto S4. Limp, though, looking to turn as Charlie reinitiating here onto Koma. He no longer has the Enrage, and down he will go. Como, who's decided to go for the Diffusal Blade. AM Aqua showing him how it's done with the mana break.
Yeah, and you can go for Bengen as well, but decide to go for more valuable targets and the techies. The illusions will deal with Bengen instead, and he is really dividing and conquering here as Aqua takes down both supports at the same time. He's pretty much the cleanup crew here, and I really like how he's been playing aggressively with this anti-mage this whole game. He acknowledges the fact that anti-mage has been played as a mid and off lane shows that anti-mages can be more aggressive early mid, and even though he's going for quote-unquote the traditional build, the more defensive anti-mage build, it still works out to play this way, especially with this lead. So well done by Aqua, and making a team fight that could have gone really badly for Goon Squad still in their favor.
And just to show you how scary this team is to play against, they win that fight, the Sand King lives, they know where Sand King is, what he's going to want to do, and they immediately start running to that tower in hopes to cut him off. They're just a little bit late, of course, because Sand King can TP to the tower, so he's going to beat him there, but Supreme is dying in the mid lane. He's just dead. Aqua silenced up for a while. Coma as well. He's going to keep him burned on the mana as perhaps they've gone a bit too deep. That's going to be Aqua going down. Aegis, remember, on Limp, who is also out of mana and currently has a small horde of 3-4 zombies and a bear chasing after him. I don't know if that was in Romero's script. Hanskin in trouble. He's going to get the Hex onto Shibe at the very least and actually try and surround him with the Serpent Wards. S4 is going to counter-initiate as well, but he's going to find himself now trapped in the Serpent Wards. He's going to have to wait for the Blink Dagger to free. No, he just denies one of the wards. Never mind. And he's free. And Goon Squad get away, only losing the AM.
He was lucky that one of the wards got hit by the techies there. Yeah, Aqua 2 times. He's like, my bad, guys. I overextended. Fair enough. No big deal. These things happen. Especially when you're playing aggressively, it's okay. And they still can turn. They showed how strong they are by being able to turn this team fight still. Like, this is not enough for Chicken Fighters to recover. But they are starting to understand their power spikes. They technically have hit and experienced power spike right now, even if they're behind on items. With the Requiem now being level 2, with the Epicenter as well close to being level 2. And they should be able to take 1 or 2 team fights off that. It's just really difficult because of how far behind they are. But their ideas and their propositions, I think, are the correct ones, especially Shiba's initiations.
Yeah, agreed. And he is absolutely crucial here, isn't he, as well? Because I think one Burrow Strike into the overpower attacks with the active on Diffusal Blade, and you might just burn through AM's mana pool. He doesn't have the biggest mana reserves, this guy. He kind of hates magic. I don't know. It's hard to tell with a guy named Anti-Mage, but he doesn't really have a fondness for it. So not a big mana pool, so they burn through that, and he's basically defenseless. He's actually going for quite the interesting build here, by the way. Agnum Scepter he's opted for. As Chicken Fighters feeling bolstered after that kill, they will actually smoke up. It's very hard for them to sweep across the map. When the mid-tier 1 tower is still up, it acts as a big old stop sign to any of these big sweeping map movements. So right now, Chicken Fighters will have to settle with just farming in the enemy triangle.
Because the Goon Squad will never let them take the enemy tower, of course, and we're just gonna let them take the small camps to the triangle. Triangle is a valuable spot because of how defensive it is, right? But it doesn't actually contain that many camps. The jungle is a much better part to control, of course, so they can just give up 1 set of camps and then go on the next round.
And S4 immediately knows where they were at. He draws a circle there. He's probably like, yeah, it's warded. I don't even think they want to deward it, to be honest. They probably are not too interested in defending that part of the map anymore. I suspect Goon Squad want to keep their foot on the gas here and just continue applying aggressive pressure. Probably that bottom tier 2 tower is going to be their next target, even before second Roche, as they will smoke up immediately and look for a fight sweeping into the enemy jungle. Oh, but again,
you're right. You can
Techie's mines. So annoying.
Good job. That's going to discover the smoke, and Shaman's like, well, I dewarded 1, I'm going to take all of them in the face. But yeah, you're right. They can just swap triangles here, because if Chicken Fighters now takes over the enemy triangle, all they can do is farm. But if Goon Squad takes over the triangle, they can also push mid, like they're doing right now, and they're going to be able to take down the Silence Fiend before he can do anything. Era, in a similar situation, is going to fall. Hanskin does die as a result, however, as Limp tries to dive the high ground, but thanks to the Guardian Angel, he's capable of doing this without taking too much damage. Aim also joins in. Bengen's the target. He gets destroyed by the Mana Void. They don't want to rush over the Ursa or the SK, as they are going to just calmly stay here, take the tower, the backdoor protection. Creeps are coming soon, though, so it's going to be fine. And Aqua feels very confident that he can fight this.
Yeah, and buying back on any hero, well, most heroes, right? Spectre, Ember, Weaver, you know, there's exceptions to that. But buying back on most heroes doesn't feel good. Buying back on Ember or on SF feels awful, because you just don't have souls. At least it did a BKB there, but oh man, it does not feel good. Luckily, they conserved that by simply just using the Fortify. Without Aegis Goon Squad, they're not going to be sticking around too long in this fight. They do still lose a support, but picking up an enemy support and the mid laner in exchange. And yeah, that's what, like you were saying, that's what taking the enemy triangle enables you to do. You get vision on an enemy hero, and you've got a couple of allies nearby, and you can easily go for pickoffs like that. The Blink Hex, of course, is going to stop Supreme from getting off his BKB and making him very, very vulnerable.
If Supreme doesn't get the Requiem off, I think in teamfights as well, teamfights are honestly impossible. We did talk about the combination of Burrow Strike plus the swipes, but obviously that's with a Guard Angel that becomes a moot point because you need to stop the Guard Angel from coming out. So either you get a beautiful Burrow Strike onto the Omni, rarely going to happen. The Spectre's positioning has been really good.
Shibe, speaking of the Burrow Strike.
Oh, well, okay. Interesting. Why was he pushing there? He's definitely dead, by the way.
Probably looking to just cut another wave or something like that, I would imagine.
Sure.
Right, he's kind of in wave cutting duty. Now that Sand King, I mean, normally I don't think we'd be saying this, but the way that this game has developed, he kind of is outside of his power spike window already, which feels a little bit bad. Yes. Talk to me, though, now that Aqua has finished up his Ag Scepter, talk to me about this Blink Fragment. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, love it. I think it's great for like destabilizing the initiations for chicken fighters. I think it's definitely a win more item, at least in this game, right? Because when the enemy team has to get the perfect initiation on you, you know, the blinks have to be on point, they have to get the greatest Requiem, etc. Not only do illusions bother them, because of course they cancel blinks, but more importantly, the fact that you're going to run out of mana halfway through the team fight for just an illusion. Oh, big nuisance, man. Yep. You don't have enough sustained damage to deal with these illusions constantly. And if Ursa is in the backlines dealing with the illusions, he's not in the front lines dealing damage, right? So this is a huge destabilizing factor for the chicken fighters team fight. And I think for the next team fight, they're going to mess up. Like, just because of this.
They're smoking out of the base, but Techies has almost no mana. Which is very concerning because all of his skills very mana intensive as they jump an illusion of Limp. Shibe is going to pay the price for that as Limp charging on in, supported by the Blink Fragments. The GA is out and Ursa Warrior is going to be shackled up. The Enrage at least is going to reduce that to almost nil as the Tombstone's still alive, quickly being focused by the Serpent Wards, but now Coma in trouble. His Enrage is ended and so is his life. Shiv is bought back, but he's not going to be able to do anything here as the Blink Fragments slowing Supreme to a crawl. They do apply the mana break.
Okay, there's the epicenter. They kind of baited with a Shadow Amulet on Supreme here, but Supreme is still going to fall together with Shibe. So I said 2 for 1. Yeah, sure, I'll take it. Aqua's still chasing after Bengen, who also has his own Shadow Amulet. Am I watching EU? Oh, sorry, that was Bengen's Shadow Amulet. Okay, both times it was Bengen's Shadow Amulet. Makes sense, makes sense. All right, Goon Squad, they will take a really easy team fight. And when I said they were going to mess up, I wasn't expecting they were going to initiate on a Senking, on a Leshrac Illusion, but there's just so much pressure on them. It makes perfect sense, honestly. You got to get the perfect initiation all the time. You need to you need to take whatever chances that are given to you, and that Leshrac Illusion seemed like a chance.
Yeah,
so fair
agreed.
Enough.
And
I get it.
Something I didn't even think about with the Blink Fragment, with the change to Mana Break, which of course all of your AM illusions apply, they also apply the slow. Didn't think about that for the Blink Fragment illusions, but that's kind of what ended up catching them the kill on the SF there, or at least guaranteeing it.
And also those Blink Fragments made the team fight impossible. The Ursa kind of went in, and nobody had mana to help him out, unfortunately.
And then he didn't have mana either very quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, things got really scary. And now 2 lanes of racks down. That was a fight. That was a push, rather, without even Goon Squad having Aegis. Now they're going to back up and say hello to the big guy in the pit himself. This guy now with a Ags Shard for free on him. I don't know. I mean, they're up 22k at this stage, right? It's 26 minutes in. They are in a very, very good position here, as it's even kind of a fake back. Look at this. Goon Squad, they're thinking like the enemies. They're going to fight in the exact same spot. Aqua's going to send forward a couple of illusions, see if they bite. This time they don't, but Coma, his smoke breaks, as does Supreme. There are the Blink Fragments in onto Supreme as Coma kind of separating himself from the enemy team. Gets off the BKB this time around, though, but Limp's going to get tossed back by S4. The Burrow Strike's going to find him. Serpent Ward's out yet again, and Charlie is going to be trying to get in onto this team fight, surrounded himself by the Serpent Wards, but still lands the Mana Break, the Mana Void, rather. That's going to find the kill onto the Undying, as they have lost the Shaman. Coma just trying to find a target, as Supreme's going to BKB and pop the ultimate, which does catch Charlie, but not with any damage. And now Chicken Fighters, what do they have left in the tank?
Nothing. They're going to die. And let me just say that team fight was with S4 being stuck in the wards for half the team fight, by the way. So, yeah, GG. I think once that happens, once you realize, hey, they just beat us with tiny Blink BKBing inside the Serpent wards, I'm pretty certain we're going to lose this game.
Yep.
I think this game has been over, honestly, since the lanes ended. The lanes went way too bad for them. You can't pick Undying and Techies and lose your lanes. It's hard to say if the lane matches were better than what we anticipated.